I usually go live on Sundays, but I had to come back again and do it today because for some reason the live stream did not show up anywhere. So there was a lot of discussion going on, and so I wanted to come back. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to come in. I wanted to talk about the new attorneys in the Carmelo Anthony case. I know that we have been watching that case, and part of our discussion was that we also saw the sentencing of the young men in the Julio Coolio case, and that was very that was something else to see there as well. Now, I'm going to just kind of nominate someone to be the moderator. And so your job will be to kick out the sillies as we get thick and deep into our conversation this evening. So, hello everyone. Welcome you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you all so much for joining me. I wanted to come by and just talk a little bit about the new attorneys in the Carmelo Anthony case. Sunday, we had a great discussion, but for some reason, it didn't save. It's not showing up anywhere on my feed. So, I definitely wanted to come back by and kind of discuss this, but also because I live in Dallas. And oddly enough, two of the men on that case I know personally. So I wanted to give you a little bit. Hello, send high five. Hi, Chase. Thank you all so much for being here. Now, they said all I had to do is press on three buttons and I can make someone the moderator. So I don't see these three buttons, but I'm hoping that I can find it if we need to. All right, welcome. Come on in, everybody. We're going to talk briefly about the Carmelo Anthony case and the new attorneys that is on that case. And I wanted to do this because it's important for us to kind of keep up, kind of know what's happening. People say this, people say that, but I live in Dallas and I know two of these gentlemen personally. So I'm going to talk about the two people I know. I don't know the other gentlemen on the case personally. I've not worked with those people personally. As you know, I am an etiquette consultant. Where part of my career and part of my career was being a political consultant and a campaign manager. So, in one of the small cities here in Dallas, I was a campaign manager for a would be mayor. Now, this would be mayor was running in a city that had not seen anyone who was African American, Hispanic, any other race be in leadership at all. And this city is about 100 years old. You know what? No little city that had never been around. So, in all of that time period, there had never been anyone African American who had been in this position. And so you can understand the uphill battle that we had in order to place this woman and to get her recognized and known in the city. So what happened was she was very popular. We were out there in the streets. We were putting up signs. We were having breakfasts. We were doing all kinds of things to get her name out and get her elected. Well, let me tell you, the people did not like that very much. So as a result, what they did is they took her name off of the ballot and they said she had to be a write-in candidate. Well, this made no sense. She had put in the paperwork prior to the deadline, so there shouldn't have been any problem with her being on the ballot. However, what people don't tell you about politics and about running for office is it can be very expensive because we had to hire an attorney in order for her name to be back on the ballot. That is how I met Carmelo's Anthony's, one of his attorneys, Justin Moore. Now, Justin came in. Justin's a young man. He is a civil rights attorney. And so, as you know, because there were no black people on the jury, they're really going to try to take a civil rights angle with this case. Now, you all know how I felt. We've discussed this many times about how I feel about what happened as far as I don't want to see anybody done the way lose their life. I don't. I'm a mother. I'm the grandmother of boys, and I don't want to see anyone lose their life. And so we're just talking about just kind of the people that they have assembled we kind of know where they're what the direction they're going. So to have Justin on the team is dynamite because let me tell you, he came in, he fired off a letter and some legal jargon and stuff, and before you knew it, she was back on the ballot. We did not have to do anything. I mean, we didn't have to do. I was shocked. We didn't have to do anything. He came right in. He's a serious young man, very, very, very smart young man, and has a very strong background in civil rights litigation. So Justin was the first one, and let me tell you, I asked him to be on the show before the verdict even came in, but he was keeping close to his vest that he was getting ready to be on the appellate team. But from the very beginning, Justin always said that he did not like the race angle that was taken. So I have not spoken to him about this case or what their plans are. I'm telling you, they're not going to tell me even if I did. But I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of background in history as to some of his attorneys that are coming on board. So that is what's going to happen. As many of people know, people are starting to turn against the family. Tell me, y'all, what do you think down below? They're saying the family was just trying to get money and that they, made a whole lot of bad decisions, which, allegedly, I do believe they did make some poor decisions in this situation. However, if the man can't work and the wife can't work and people are threatening them consistently and constantly, do you think that they have no way of making money at all? So what is your thoughts on that, y'all? Put it down below. I just think it's from the very beginning it's been handled badly. Now, as you can see, there haven't been any leaks. There has not been any talk. And I can tell you why. Because the men that they have now in charge of this case is not going to let that happen. But from the very beginning, Justin is from his social media posts, I feel like he's always felt it was a manslaughter charge and the boy should play it out. And I don't know if they're going to get a new trial. They're going to make a real issue about no black jurors on the jury. So that you might see some of that. But I know that he is a pit bull. He is not fit to play with anyone. Justin is a very accomplished attorney. So if they'll go all the way to the Supreme Court, if they have to. That's the kind of guy Justin is, as far as what I've seen in his litigation. Nice guy. He always treated me with the utmost respect. Very tall, and very intelligent. So that is what they did. Okay, yes, even if the family made some poor decisions, they trusted the wrong people because they didn't know. I'm happy they have a great team now. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I think they didn't know. Now, was money in? I mean, listen, they got $600,000 in a matter of a month. Going from they weren't broke. Don't get me wrong. If you're living in Frisco, we talked about that in our last stream. If you're living in Frisco, you're living pretty good. Frisco is a nice area. Frisco is a beautiful city. So if you're living in Frisco, you're doing pretty well. However, $600,000 in a month is a lot of money. They have other children they have to be taken care of. They had security problems, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to paint what happened. I am sure the other family also had to go through some things as well to get their security taken care of. So we're just discussing. Oh, look at that, you all. I can do some things now. Add as moderator. Okay, I've learned how to do some things. So I'm gonna make somebody a moderator at some point if I see any trouble. Yes, I saw their family picture, and they are definitely doing well for themselves. Yes, they I'm thinking you're talking about Justin, but yes, so Justin is a very good young man that I have had contact with. I can't speak to anybody else's interactions and engagement with him. I'm saying our mayor was back on the ballot, and of course, Lady T, as the campaign manager, she won. She won as the mayor. So that is Justin, really nice guy. Okay, so now let's go to the next person that I know. Now, this person I know, I know intimately and personally. I know this young man since he was this little. We grew up together. I used to spend a night at his house. Really good friend of ours. We used to beat him up. He was our little brother. And then he grew up to be the big man. And so he too is a good guy, dogged in litigation, very, very highly intelligent, a family man. And he was the DA of Dallas for many years. His name is Russell Wilson. So Russ, I'm so proud of him. And not because I'm taking one side or the other. What happened to the young man whose life was taken was wrong. However, no one could look at this case and look at what happened in the courtroom and say that he was represented well, especially when the family, these are allegedly, received $600,000 and only put $75,000 toward his defense. Most cases of this magnitude is going to take $500,000 for you not to have to do life. And technically, he is eligible after 17 years. This young man whose life was taken will never be eligible for anything. So you know what I'm saying? You have to look at both sides of the situation. So Russell is a wonderful attorney. They will look at the litigation as far as he's not a civil rights guy. He does civil rights cases sometimes, but I'm saying as far as him being the DA and him being the one who is going to look over the paperwork, he is straight down the middle. He is straight down the middle, and he is going to look more at the technicalities of the case. So that's what Russell is there for. He is very smart. I remember growing up with him. I mean, it just all comes back rushing now. And he was always smarter than us, but because we were older than him, we would bully him. But he wouldn't take that. He is not, there is not nothing soft about Mr. Russell Wilson. He can get it as much as he can give it. And so you can expect a very vigorous defense on both sides of the issue from Justin and from Russell. Justin is going to be on the civil rights side, and Russell is going to be more on the technical aspects of the case. And no matter where you come down on it, what I wanted to talk about, because another case we saw was Coolio Fulio, or Fulio Coolio, however you say the name. I don't listen to rap, but what I was looking at was the fact that just like Karmelo's a young guy, these young men also is getting ready to go to prison, but these young men are without a possibility of parole. Now, one of the young men, right before his sentencing, he stood up, and y'all, let me tell you, when I tell you he quoted scripture after scripture after scripture. Now, meanwhile, none of those scriptures were in his mind when he was dressed all in black and he was dipping with his homies and they were getting ready to do what they did. And so they took this young man's life and they got life without the possibility of parole. As I saw them as I saw that unfold, it was just really sad to see. Now, these young men one of them was from a very good family, just like Carmelo, mother and father in the home. But yet we see them both doing the same thing in reaction to taking someone's life. Now, you say he was jumped in his self defense. However, that did not bear out as far as videos and as witness testimony. I believe that's why he was found guilty at the level that he was found guilty. However, when the appeal takes place and Russ and Rushmillo didn't get jumped, but he did swing. Okay, all right. So we want to be careful. I'll have to, kick you out. I know how to do my stuff now, so I'll make sure that you be respectful down in the comments, because I believe that's why they didn't put my video up the last time, because y'all was going off. Y'all was going off down there. So I know how to do things a little bit better now. So these two young men grew up um, grew up in a good family environment. Yet, when they were faced with the situation, they did not know how to deal with the situation. They didn't know how to deal with it. They jumped out of anger. They responded out of anger. So y'all, we need to give our kids tools on how to deal with situations with anger when they getting, when they're facing a situation. Now these other young men, they were straight, well, allegedly, as far as what came out during the case, they was kind of thuggish, y'all. They were doing things they didn't need to be doing. They drove all the way from one city all the way to another city to take this young man's life. They had never even met the young man personally. And so they took his life, and therefore they're going to be doing life without parole. When they did when they said the case, and they did the what was going to be their sentences, they had no response on their face. So one of them I told you, one of them I told you, he did all the scriptures. He was doing from Genesis all the way to Revelation. He was talking about the Lord. He was talking about the Lord. But again, he was not talking about the Lord when he was doing what he was doing. Then one brother came up there and he blamed the girl. Yeah, he blamed the girl. He blamed the girl. Um, he said the girl was uh she didn't she did the same thing and she didn't get as much time. So this is what another one of the young men said. So he want to blame his woman. She did get some time, I think like 16 years. So you are there throwing out football numbers, years on these children. Some, well, not all of them are children, 18 to I say around 30 years old, 18 to around 27, somewhere in there. And so within those ages, we see a problem. We see issues with our young people. Now, we want to, I'm telling you right now, when they go to court, and just like these young men got found guilty, a lot of people think, "Oh, wonderful! He's got a chance now. He has a new." And I'm kind of jumping back to both stories, but I'm going back to Karmelo now. They're saying, "Oh, now that he's got this team, now they said he was now that he has this team, he's going to be able to get a great appeal, and he'll be able to get a new case." So let me tell you right now, they're not the facts of the case have been adjudicated. There will not be another case unless he gets a retrial, and even in that, that's not guaranteed he's going to be found innocent. And not only that, this next jury can even give him more time. So you've got to be careful about what the outcome is that you think may happen. Bottom line, a young man, a kid was unalive in front of a lot of people. You talking about the trauma all these kids saw. You talking about the trauma the coaches saw. You talking about the trauma Carmelo was in. It's a lot of trauma going on. Someone is going to be held accountable for this young man's life being taken. And so, as the attorneys come in, these young men, and I shared my story, you all, how I know these young men personally. I know Russell, I know Justin, both of them are good brothers, and they're going to come in there and they're going to fight for Karmelo. But I'm telling you, a part of that is going to be on technicalities. If they can get the court on a technicality. And the only technicality at this point, which if it's bared out legally won't even be a technicality, is if they say there were no black people on the jury, because there were other races of people on the jury. Period and point blank. We can go back and forth about if he was jumped, and you all say he was jumped. Why didn't these witnesses that you say saw it all, and they're reporting on TikTok and they're reporting on this, but when it came time to save this young man's life, they did not step into that courtroom and speak up for him? If they saw him get jumped, why didn't the defense call him? Why didn't if all of these people are lined up to say he was jumped, then why they didn't show up when it counted? You see, we can keep on talking, but when it come down to the courtroom and you have to put your hand on the Bible and raise one other hand and swear to a thing, these young men did not come and swear. And so that's when he needed these people. If indeed all of these things were happening to him, then they should have come and testified for him. But they did not. but they did not. Now, listen, you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. I just came by because Sunday I went live. You know, I don't normally go live. Hello, Roilers. Hello, everyone. Well, I'm sorry that the kid was unalive, but he was bullied. Bullied by, okay, y'all. I want to really, let's get into this discussion. And I appreciate you all being so respectful down in the comments. And I love the fact that you are saying, um that that you are telling me how you feel. Many people said that he was bullied. Can I say that in court, you all, let me be very clear. In court, no one came forward and said this young man was being bullied. No one said he was being bullied. This was the first time that he even had even seen these people. This was a whole different track team. So he had never even seen these people. So he wasn't being bullied, but he may have felt he was being bullied. I shared with you kind of the racial mix-up over in Frisco, and there is low-key, little stuff happening. But when you look over in the Frisco area, Plano area, all that area over there, it is diverse. When I say diverse, let me be clear. So you have a lot of doctors and lawyers and people who are wealthy who live over in that area. And when I say diverse, what I mean is there's a lot of Asian people, there's a lot of Middle Eastern people, there are other people of different races, not always FBAs, Foundational Black Americans, or ADOS. There are some over there. When you're talking about all the athletes, the Mavericks, the Dallas Cowboys, those people live over there as well. So there is a diversity over there. It is a very beautiful community and a very mixed, rich community. So all of that is going on there. They said that Karmelo was minding his business. Well, in court, I keep hearing this they, but in court they said that he was asked to leave 15 times and he didn't leave. So I'm just saying, when they went to court, the evidence that came out was a little different. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So if these people know this happened and that he was getting jumped and he was getting bullied and he was getting all of these things, they need to come forward. They need to swear to what they're getting ready to testify to. And you know what I'm saying? And get it out in the open. So that if this boy was being done that way, that the truth can be told. Because my thing is, I, I hate to see both of these young men. Both of these young men lost their lives. One, he wasn't trying. He didn't want to lose his life. The other one took his life, and because of that, he will be, you know, incarcerated. We can't think that these new lawyers who are going to come in again, who are wonderful, who are great, they're going to do a great job. And I do believe if there are places that they can find that any technical things happened, they will find those things and they will point them out and they will get those things fixed. And he may get a retrial, or he may even, well, maybe not get a retrial, but he may be able to plead down to something less. So we know he has to do at least 17 and a half years. The other young men, they were sentenced to life with no possibility of parole. So this is what our young Black men who are coming from homes of mother and father are kind of dealing with. And my question is the culture louder than even mom and dad at home? I believe there used to be a show called Scared Straight, and they used to take the youngsters to the jail and show them how these people live. But I think they know people who've been in jail, and yet even though they know and hear about the horrible lifestyle in jail, they're still choosing to do what they're doing. You have people in Chicago, they had more than 14 pow in Chicago just recently. You all, if we don't begin, they have been team takeovers. If we don't begin to talk about these things, I think we're going to have issues. And so I do believe, well, I'm sorry, we already are having issues. I've asked if you do a program for you young people, please put it down below. We need to know about you. One of the things that I do, I shared this on my last video, is every time I go and I speak at an organization, I always give them, the girls a doll. And I just wanted to also thank you all. You all have made it possible for me to be able to give out our historical dolls every single time I go and speak. I give them out as door prizes. And I also sometimes I'm able to give all the kids in the room a doll like this. Now, why is this important? This one here is Maya Angelou. But as you can see, I have a whole lot of different ones. And the reason I do this is because our girls don't have keepsakes. They don't have things that 20 years from now could be of very great value. And I want to give them their first thing of value. So I want to thank each and every one of you for your donations. You all make this possible. That's Cash App. Money sign TrenettWilson, no E. So leave the E off and TrenettWilson. And I want to thank you all for what you do for us. And so that's why I come and talk about these cultural things. Because if we don't do this, you all, our kids, our history, culture is going to define who people think we are. And that's not who we are. I spend a lot of time each week posting videos for you. You all click down below and watch the videos so that you can learn about our royal, black, and elite history. We have history that we are inventors, doctors, business owners, so much more. And I think until that message begins to permeate and overtake the cultural message, then we're going to continue to deal with what we're dealing with our young people. So I think the message has to be clarion and loud and clear and all of that because our kids need to see this instead of what they've been seeing. And I want to thank Mattel. Mattel created this collection, Katherine Johnson, all of these all of these so that we can have our historical dolls. I think it's important that we do this, you all. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you. So as we close out, what will happen with this Karmelo case? Y'all, this case has really put some weight, I feel, on the black community. As a believer and as a Christian, you cannot take someone else's life. I can't co-sign that, y'all. I really can't. But at the same time, the word does have something to say about enemies and those who do wrong, and that we have mercy on people. So I don't want to see this young man thrown under the jail and done every kind of which way. So I can have compassion for both of these young men, and so can you. People say that you have to hate somebody. You all the things that the people are doing to this young man's gravesite. It's just not it's not in me to be that way. As a believer, I know we have to treat each other with respect. And so I'm not down with that. But I'm also not down with this young man, going under the prison and he's only 17 or 18 years old. He made a horrible decision. But even science says their mind are not even developed till they're 21 or 22 years old. So they both standing up, their minds are not, neither one of them minds are developed. And they pushed it all the way to the limit. And someone lost their life. And so we can be sad about that and mourn that. But we can also, you know, see, okay, what can we do? This boy's 18, 19 years old. Yes, he has to do 17 and a half years. I think that's kind of fair, though, because even if he had done manslaughter, he would have had to do at least, I believe, like 20. What do y'all think? Tell me down below. If he had done manslaughter, he would have had to done 20. But you cannot say he just needs to walk out of the jail tomorrow. You can't say that because when it was time to put up or shut up, no one showed up. They said even his parents did not show up for the sentencing. So I feel bad. 5 to 10 is fair. Put it down below. What do y'all think? Thank you so much. Really, TY Love. Thank you so much. Five to 10 is fair. Okay, so you think 5 to 10 is fair. I do have compassion, but I want him to have a fair trial. The trial feels like it went too fast. It feels fishy. Got you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. See, that's what I love. Let's be honest about it. See, people always say, oh, you're just, it just is a black and white thing and it's race, race, race. No, no, no. No, no, no. It's not about race. We're talking about fairness. We're talking about let's take everything in its entirety, what happened there. And yes, he was wrong what he did. But this notion that Karmelo was a thug and he was in trouble all the time. No, he was there representing his team. And I know as a grandmother, if my grandson gets in trouble or flunk school, he cannot go represent his team. So he was there representing his team. So he's not this bad, horrible person that people are trying to paint him in the press. But because we have allowed the press to define who we are as people, ghetto, loud, violent, all of this, you know what we see on television, you know what we see on TikTok. I can talk about something good all day, and we get great views here. So thank you all for tuning in, all that. Thank you so much. But you can put something silly on there and get 3 million views. So who sees the bad side of us is a lot more than sees the intelligent side of us. So this young man was young. His mind had not yet developed. And yes, he responded like a kid. Yes, I also agree with people who say he should not have had the weapon. What is he doing there with a weapon? But if you are in this situation where you're surrounded all the time, this is not the first time he been in a room full of, just one race. But what we found out was that there were also black boys under there too. And black boys who grow up with money and grow up with a more diverse circle, they don't think just like your average young black boy, like you think you should be thinking. You think, well, you should be on Karmelo's side no matter what. But they said what they saw. And so I just really feel like, this conversation, who we are and how we are defined, must be again taken back over from us, not by people who don't love us, who don't know us, and who do not represent us. And they felt like now, and they've talked to other attorneys as well, that them choosing a white attorney because of where they are in Frisco was a good move. So I believe it too. It was a good move because you don't want to come off looking aggressive or all of that, right? But the problem was they didn't pick a good, allegedly, white attorney. This man didn't even, he called just a few witnesses, and the ones he called, they talked against Karmelo. He didn't bring in the fact that the boy's mind wasn't already developed to what an adult decision would have been. They didn't bring in any people to talk about maybe the bullying that he may have faced in other situations. So they did not do a good job of representing him at all. And that's why he got the sentence that he got. Now, before I close you all, there is word that has come out from the jail. And what they're saying is Karmelo has had to be put in isolation because, oh, I agree. That is B.R. Bryce Vander Wooden. I think Bryce Vanderwooden. I hope I said that right. I thought a change of venue would have been in order as well. A change of venue. I don't think he should have went to trial at all. He's going to still be found guilty, you all. He did what he did. He did what he did. He's still going to be found guilty. Right around, so you say change of venue. If you move it out of Collin County, now if he would have been in Dallas County, there would have been black people on that jury. But I'm trying to tell you that the best he might have gotten was a mistrial, maybe. And they would have, and the prosecution would have also moved again. They would have changed the venue. So when you look at Collin, you look at Fort Worth County, all those counties all over there, even in Austin, y'all, predominantly not black. Let me just say that. They could have maybe moved it to Houston, Harris County. Maybe there would have been some black. But my issue is here, if the evidence was the evidence, the evidence was the evidence. And so even if they would have moved to different counties, as I told you before, they did not bring in anybody that backed up what Karmelo said. And no one backed up that he was in danger, his life in danger. And I'm gonna tell you a story. My daughter one time got into an incident, and we had to get a attorney and everything because she protected herself. She responded to the threat, but they told her she would have to almost be gone from the earth in order to have responded. Now that's just foolishness. I don't know anyone black that's going to do that. Most of the time in the black community, we have been taught to not let someone get the jump on you. So if he's in that situation, again, he's not a grown man. He's thinking like a kid, right? He's thinking like a kid. He's going to make a kid decision. Now, one reason that he didn't take the stand, thank you for that question. That's real good. I think that's exactly right. He didn't take the stand. One of the reasons they said he did not take the stand is though he wasn't in trouble the day of the track meet, he had been in trouble before. So that was a problem. He also had pictures of him with Papaws. So that also was a problem. So there were several things, that they didn't really want to bring him and subject him to because they knew that if they got him up there, it was going to be some problems. So that's why he didn't take the stand. So news has come out that they're in the jail where he's at. People are picking on him and things. They put him in isolation, but they're coming at him to make him their girlfriends and stuff. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying. So brother is facing a serious issue. Even if these brothers, I mean, this is the dream team. If you ever get in trouble, this is OJ Simpson squad, right? These men, Russell, good friend of mine, again, back in the day. And Justin worked with him a few years ago when I was a campaign manager for a mayor. The mayor won, right? These brothers, they gonna do their thing. If there's any technicalities or anything like that, they may get them to a more low security, low security place or something like that. But the truth of the matter is, they're not going to be able to get him out of jail. And the thing about it is, this is going to take about a year. Appeals take time. So even though maybe some people feel like, oh, he shouldn't be in there at all, it's going to take time. He should have never went to court. He should have pled out. He should have pled out. And so that's what should have happened. So unfortunately, the young man, he did take someone's life. And yes, they did find him guilty. But again, he's a young man, a young man. Do we throw away our young people, you all? And how many of you all are parents out there? How many of you all are grandparents and things like that? It's sad to see. And I don't know that it's a political thing about who's defending him. I think they're defending the length of time. I don't believe anybody thinks Karmelo was right for what he did. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't know. I don't think anybody wants to see someone be hurt. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. I've learned how to do all kinds of stuff now. I can put people in timeout. I can kick them out. I can remove this stuff. Because last Sunday they told me up, y'all. I didn't know what I was doing on that live. And I was talking just like I'm talking now. Just about, and none of them have ever been in trouble. I have 4 children. None of my kids have ever been in trouble either. So that's what I'm saying. Why is it that some people can raise kids who don't get in trouble, and some people raise kids, mother-father dynamic in a good neighborhood, but they did? What's the difference? What do you think? You all tell me what do you all think? Because I do think that y'all listen. I'm not for the foolishness. I'm putting you in timeout. I'm kicking you out because we are intelligent people. We are intelligent people and we're having an intelligent conversation. We are grandparents. We are parents. We have a real issue going on with our children hurting one another or hurting others. What can we do within our own community, our own culture to make a difference? Well, you all have started it by watching Royal Black and Elite. You all, these channels, I have over 2.9 million views on my videos because I bring to you the Black history from a positive point of view. I don't like mess. I don't like trouble. And so I bring it from a positive. I think it's enough negativity out there. If you want to hear about, the housewives or somebody getting jumped on and beat, we see that all the time. But I love bringing the positive message. The cultural and the news side, however, I do realize we can't always live looking behind us. We have to look forward. So as we're looking forward, what can we do in order to help these kids? We have to do it. We do history, Black history, all history. But elite Black history is where my heart is. When we hide the people from the past that have done great things, it doesn't give our children an opportunity to understand they have a standard they have to live up to. So I want our kids to see a standard. I want our kids to know that they matter and that they come from good ancestors, not all this negativity that they're seeing. So what will happen with this case? You all, I don't know. I don't know if Karmelo's gonna get out. Like I said, he took someone's life. And ultimately, if you do something like that, you will be punished for it. In Texas, I don't know if his mom and dad did not tell him from the jump, son, you going out here with these people, act like you got some sense. If you get in trouble in Texas, stuff is gonna be different, right? Stuff's gonna be different. And so because of that, we're very strict on laws here in Texas, which is kind of crazy to me because it's where he was that was a problem. If he had done that same thing at the grocery store, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are with weapons and things, but on a school campus, certainly you can't bring something like that on a school campus. You just can't. And then you can't put your hand and get ready. It just, everything about this situation was horrible. Just horrible. But what can we do with our boys? What can we do to address this issue? Now, I do, of course, programming, and so I am very excited. But I'm going to read what Really Ty Love says. Hello, Really Ty Love. Thank you for your comment. I'm not a parent yet, but speaking from my younger self, I would have wanted a focus other than media, video, game, social media. I wish my parents put me in business school or stress me to build a business. Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about business ownership. When we talk about business ownership, you all, some brothers actually just bought like 14 grocery stores in Chicago. So big ups to them. Congratulations to them. Grocery stores save a lot there in Chicago. If we don't own nothing, we ain't running nothing. Let me say that for the people in the back. If we don't own anything, we're not running anything. So ownership is very important. And one thing that I see is when we come together, there are more resources in order to focus on a thing that we can own. So basically, these brothers came together and they put their money together so that they could start these grocery stores. Now everybody eating. I think in the Black race, sometimes we've been conditioned to believe that if you get it, I can't get it. We believe that if we can't all get it at the same time. So I'm gonna have to push you down. If it can't be too many of us at this level. It can't be too many of this at that level. So that's a problem. Another problem is because of our ancestral background. And so I'm not fit to get on a slavery train and stay there, but to deny that there was trauma that came out of there, it would be a lie because we were still fighting for rights still in the 60s. So this notion that Black people just need to get over it and it's over with now, come on now. Come on now. So I believe that mentality, that woundedness that came out of that time period. Not all of us are wounded. Now I'm not saying that applies to everybody. And I don't believe you should live there on the wounded street, right? But because of that, some people feel like if you have it, I can't have it. And we've got to have the crabs in the bucket mentality and keep you down. You see, even during that time of period during slavery. Black people, y'all, my new book, Everything Black. I've been talking about that. It's coming out in August. You have got to get Everything Black. Everything Black is a full compilation of everything that has happened over 400 years within the Black culture. So all the way from Africa all the way to today, it's in there. I have rebellion, slave ships. I have you name it, people, you name it. It's called Everything Black, and the cover is black. So I'm really excited about this because as our Black history is hidden and continuing to be taken out of schools and things like that, we need to let people know what's going on. So part of that is there is wounding within inside of our own race, y'all. Y'all know, I wish that we could really talk about stuff like this because we get so divisive. We call people Uncle Toms and Sambos and this and that because we want to talk about issues that's really impacting the Black community. But how are we gonna heal and get whole if we don't really talk about truth? So the truth is, even on the plantation, Black people were the ones who would tell the master about the rebellion. So say they would get together and they were like, okay, at 9 o'clock at night, you know, block the race. Thank you all. Block this. Yes. Hold on. This sounds, let me go ahead and remove this one. Yes, thank you all. Remove them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, I appreciate you all letting us have this conversation. See, people, if you don't want to hear about this, and if this don't have anything to do with you, then you don't have to watch it. But in our society, in our culture, in our community, we've never really had an opportunity um to talk about things like this from our heart with each other. So I'm not trying to talk to you about anything who don't have this experience. Just us talking, right? This is us talking. And so what I find is that mentality that kind of came back and all that trauma and all that stuff that we have dealt with has been um a very um traumatizing part of of experience. And some people do, they keep looking back, they keep living in that pain. Again, I don't. We have different color races of people in my family, but the bottom line is we've got to deal with what we are dealing with in um our own life. Black want reparations for their ancestors, but have not done anything to help build the Black community by white Jews. Okay, all right. I hear what you're saying, Stefan. You say something else, fly again, and you might get kicked out. But for that one, I'm gonna have to go ahead and go with it because I do believe sometimes we look outside of our community to not take responsibility for our stuff. But but honestly, if that's the mentality you come out with, so what did we say? We said during that time period, over during on the plantation, it would be the slaves would tell on the other slaves. When we go back to the motherland, the continent, there were African kings who were selling African people. And they would sell them for stupid stuff, y'all, like corn husk, you all for tar to put in their hair to cover up their graves. Just things that were absolutely ridiculous. They were selling their people for. But when they came into the knowledge of what was happening and they were losing their population, they stopped doing that. So they did course correct, but it was 2 million people later. So within the Black race, until we deal with some of the hurt we do to each other, I don't think we're really ever going to be able to heal. And so, we need to heal from that. We need to heal that these Black people stood in partnership with other races of people to hurt us. Period and point blank. Period and point blank. And it's happening today. It still happens today. Sometimes when you see people in power give money back to all natives in America. Okay, because let's talk. Okay, y'all keep wanting to talk about this reparations, so let's get into it real quick. Lady, let you have never talked about reparations or anything like that. But since you all keep talking about reparations down in the comments, let me just touch on it, and then we're gonna run on down the road. Okay. So when we look at reparations, what reparations are is a payment for something that happened in the past. Um, whatever happened in the past, right? That's what reparations are. Now, when we look at, because a person was wronged, and it's payment back for what happened to these people. Now, when we look back on slavery, when slavery was abolished, the slave owners were paid, let me use the word, reparations, because they no longer had slaves. The very people who were enslaving people were paid reparations. But you're going to tell me that black people, ADOS, FBA, foundational black Americans, don't deserve reparations when you can pay people who are not even Americans money, when you can give people money, bank loans to open up stores in our country, in our communities. Oh yeah. Oh y'all, I'll school y'all. I'm a historian. This is what I do. You all, the stuff that was done to black people, but I choose not to live there. But when we talk about reparations, you have no grounds to stand on. You gave the money to them. And so if your family can be traced back to selling Africans and selling people into slavery, of course you shouldn't get no reparations. Your family already benefited from reparations. If you own slaves, by the way, you all, black people owned slaves in America. They were mostly in New Orleans, where you had a big contingency of people who were mulatto, and mixed race people. So most people who owned black people. Come on. They said the government just paid Iran $4 billion as a reparation. I'm just trying to tell you, if we're gonna get on this conversation of reparations, let's not play. Let's be intellectually honest about this. And it makes me mad when I see black people talking about they don't deserve that. We don't. When our grandmothers and our grandfathers built physically with their hands, raise these people children, clean these people's house, they were in an unequal partnership. That's like me going out there running 500 laps and then saying go and expect you to catch up with me. But despite what they did to us, we still were able to catch up. Educational wise, financial wise, I'm not saying everyone, but there are individuals who have been able to break out of the mold and be able to produce money and legacy for their family. Pan African confusion. She say our, but speaking Pan African confusion, like God can't make black people on this west side of the hemisphere. All skin colors, blah, 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 are here before. Yes, I don't have a problem with any, but y'all know y'all sold us. I mean, if we can't be honest, yeah, there were African kings selling us when we were in Africa. I love everybody. I don't hate nobody. I told you I'm trying to go to heaven, and I don't have time to hate anybody. If you like it, I love it. But the fact of the matter is, black people own slaves, white people own slaves, Spanish people own slaves, Indians own slaves. In fact, Indian people there in Oklahoma actually had to give money back in reparations to black people for slavery. So that's how Sarah Rector became a billionaire. So I have a video of Sarah Rector, the girl with the oil. So that's how that happened, you all. You know how many I just y'all look at my 40 acres in a mule video. We didn't get 40 acres in a mule. We got to borrow and work on land up to 40 acres in a borrowed mule. A borrowed mule. So that what we never have been on equal footing. We really have not. We really have not. And so as far as reparations is, you'll get nothing and like it. Well, ain't that and you'll get nothing too and like it. Remove. How about that? So since everybody getting nothing, let's get nothing together. And so do I believe that this country does owe foundational black people something? I certainly do. I certainly do. I do believe that because Carnegie built Carnegie and generational wealth, the Rockefellers, so many, you all, so many. Even the brokest one built a legacy. And black people had to start from the very back. But it also shows our resiliency, y'all. That's why it's important that we keep our history alive. The resiliency to get educated, to raise families, and to do what we've been able to do in this world. I am proud of us as a people. And I don't care how other people feel about whatever they feel about. It really don't matter to me. I think that this is a wonderful opportunity. We have a chance to change our culture. We have a chance to change the conversation. And the way we do it is it begins with us. So you be that royal black and elite in your family, in your neighborhood, on your street. And at some point, things will begin to shift and turn. Make the Arab, okay, enslaved hey, everybody owes some money, y'all. That's all I'm trying to say. Black people been used by so many people. That's why I won't let anybody tell us that the story didn't happen or that we weren't wrong or that we're owed something. They giving this money to other people instead of to us. So I do believe we do have to stay together. We do have to stick together. I do believe we have to get better politicians who's going to represent us instead of representing everybody else. They represent dogs, cats, canaries, everything, but they do not represent us. So I think we need to start picking our people better, much better. And just to note on that, you were talking about boycotting Asian stores. You all, these boycotts, let me tell you, they starting to take some weight. They're starting to weigh on some things. They always say black people don't have money, but collectively, yes, we do. And individually, many of us do. Everybody ain't broke. And so the nail shops are starting to see and feel that. The restaurants, all of that. If you're not going to treat us with respect, then we're not going to, go to your store. So I think they pushing all of the black Congress people out of their seats. They're pushing them because they're not doing nothing. You know, if they would really have represented black people, the black people would have stood up and not let them get pushed out of their seat. The reason the black community is quiet because you've got violence, you've got crimes. You can't even go into the grocery store without locks and things on the grocery store. So until we start looking inward, they're going to treat us outward the way they want to treat us because we are allowing the culture to be overtaken by people who don't have our values. Period and point blank. In the sake of, oh, well, this, or he was this, and he, no. No, too many of our young men, y'all, 75% of our black children are being raised by single mothers. And one of the real problems is a single mother with a boy in her goal and her aspiration to see her son grow up to be wonderful and mighty and strong. Sometimes, I'm not saying all single mothers, but sometimes some single mothers baby them a bit, not teaching them how to clean, not teaching, you know, all of that. And so they baby them a little bit and they don't get them ready for life. And these are the things that we see come out now. And so if you know someone who's a single mother, she has some sons, yo, reach out to them, play basketball with them, take them to the game, play the video games with them, take them to church. Pray for them. You know, there's so many things that we as a community, we need to do to come together and put our hands around them. You know, let's put our arms around them. So if 75% are being raised by single mothers, then another 25% are being raised with their daddy in the house. And I just want to shout out to your dads. Thank you all for what you are doing in the lives of your daughters and your sons. Thank you for staying even when you didn't want to stay. Thank you for paying when you didn't want to pay. Thank you. Thank you. I have been married over 30 years, and my husband is a pit bull. He don't play about his children, his wife, or his family. And he has protected our family so many times. So I want to thank you, brothers. Not all men are not there. Not all men are deadbeats. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I hope that's not what anybody took from our conversation about the 75%. But um, the fact is, there are many young men who are being raised without the fathers in their life. There are many young men who need you, daddy. And if you're a father and you listening on here right now, y'all reach out to your sons, reach out to your daughters. Because what you do is when you are absent out of their life, you set up something called an orphan spirit. And an orphan is a person who doesn't have family. They feel like they're alone. They don't have anybody. So that's what an orphan spirit is. The spirit of rejection, the spirit of depression and loneliness. And that turns into anger. That's what you see. I'm mad. I'm angry. Because when the very person who gave life to me don't want me, how am I supposed to show up in the world? We don't ever look at it from that side. But those are facts. Or if somebody beat this child, how that person may feel. And now it's their responsibility as they grow to get the help that they need, whether it's spiritual help or whether it's going through counselor or whatever it is. They need to get the help. But a lot of times in the Black community, y'all know, let's just be honest, just until about the last 5 years, have we been honest and said, hey, we need help. We need some help. We need to go to counseling, right? So there are times, right? There are times that you need help. If you need help, go get it. There's nothing wrong with you if you have to go get some help. You need to talk to somebody. If you can't get out the bed and you're sad, if you can't stop eating, if you can't overcome your addiction, if you can't stop fighting people, if there's things that your flesh cannot control and you need help, get you some help, you all. Don't walk around in the world broken. That's what's wrong with too many of us. We walking around broken instead of going and getting the help that we need because we scared about what somebody else says. And mama said you don't need help, and daddy said you don't need help. And grandmama was able to raise 15 kids by herself. Grandmama died when she was young, full of cancer, full of depression, broke in a shack. That is not a flex. It is not a flex to say I don't need no help. And I don't, that's why a lot of Black men are in the trouble they in. Because they're being raised in this situation. And I don't care how good of a mother you are. And I'm a mother, you all. Y'all know that. My son, he needed his father. Daddy had to step in many times. And I told you all, I was a teenage mother, so this wasn't even his son. But he raised him like he was. He never made a difference between him or any other children. So he raised him like he's the man. And now look at what he's doing today. He was just on the news the other day, saving somebody's life. So any man who will take some time up with a young man and just raise them, talk to them, encourage them, everybody needs that, you all. Everybody needs that. And we all owe it to it. And the drunk uncle and the one who trying to teach him how to, wear his pants down, away with them. They can go ahead and go to the corner and talk to somebody else. Protect your children. Protect your children from what's coming in from the culture because it doesn't help them. They are mentally unwell. And then let's just be honest, y'all. Y'all have to look at my one on dementia. Black people, y'all, we talking about everything tonight. Thank y'all for joining me. We've been having a good time. Y'all put like down below, hype the video, you all. I don't know what all you can do on live, but I'm just so glad you all are here. Listen, you all. I just did a video recently on dementia. So we're talking about mental health issues within the Black community. And we're talking about men, all of that, right? So I did one on dementia, y'all. Black people are getting dementia faster than anybody else. Dementia. Now, we saw Michael Irvin. He came out recently and said that his wife was suffering from dementia. Sandy's a sweet lady, you all. Sandy's a sweet lady. Well, next thing I know, about 2-3 days ago, he came out with his girlfriend. Now, as far as I know, him and Sandy's still together. She still has dementia, and he should still be standing there by her side. And it brings me back to Bev, uh, uh, to be Smith, how her husband did her when she got dementia. I'm very disappointed to see Mike do this, Michael Irvin, at the end of his wife's struggle with this dementia. So you all black people have dementia. Oh, this woman not even 60 years old, y'all. So I'm telling you all, what they're saying is causing it is black people. We looking at high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, and also getting high with the Mary Jane. Okay, so they're saying these things are restricting the blood flow to the brain. And that is what's happening. These high blood pressure, all these things are restricting the blood, the blood flow to the brain. And that is why we are looking at more rates of dementia. Now, some of the signs of dementia early, you all, they show up like 10 years before actually you going into full dementia, right? So things that are showing up real early is forgetfulness, thought in the middle of a sentence, right? Thought, yeah, the green stuff will not help. You know, people tell you, oh, the green stuff this, the green stuff too. But y'all, let me tell you, a lot of times, even what the people are wrapping the green stuff in, it's got all this stuff in here. All these nicotine and chemicals and all of this. Y'all, they trying to kill people. And they're using the people to do it to themselves. So you've got to be careful, y'all. These things are restricting the blood to your brain. And because it's restricting it to your brain, that means that you are going to have dementia later in life. So if you smoke now, you all, if you can stop, y'all stop. Stop. The stress, stop. If you all have high blood pressure, diabetes, make sure that it's under control. How can you get it under control? You are moving. Y'all moving. That will settle so much. Moving 3 times a week, 30 times, 30 minutes a day. It would help you so much, you all. It would help you so much. So get up and exercise. If you want to know how not to have dementia, that's right, you all down there. Sunny Brown, it's sprayed. Yes, ma'am. Chopper Timberland 139. Get healthy. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's oh, yes, sir. Chopper also said, um, healthy type. I'm not sure what that said. Okay, but exercise. My dad died of this in 2025. I can relate. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your father's passing. Y'all, you don't want to leave this world and not know who your children are, who your mama was, who your daddy, and literally the dementia, that's what happens, you all. And so I'm really sad to know that at the end of Sandy's life, who was Michael Irvin's wife, y'all, they did B. Smith so bad. The girlfriend was living in the house. They was eating dinner in front of B. Smith, and B. Smith would just be sitting there. They wouldn't fix her hair. They wouldn't put makeup on her. So that's why this you want to keep yourself as long as you possibly can. I'm in the same dilemma. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that, Chop. I'm so sorry. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you right now, it's an ugly place to be. It you have to stop whatever it is that you're doing that would lead to this, you all. You want to stop it now. So if you like again, diabetes, high blood pressure, all those things. Now, let me say, we said you'll forget what you're saying in mid-sentence. You'll forget things. The thing that I see mostly also is you'll just start staring into space for a few minutes, and then you'll come back to yourself. All of these things, you all, you'll start seeing, and basically, we see. Do you know the guy Bruce Willis? Put a like down below if you know Bruce Willis. Yeah, everybody, put a like down below. Everybody, I know Bruce Willis is not in the Royal Black and Elite circle, but he was halfway brother, right? Bruce was. Bruce has dementia. Bruce is now at the ending stages of this dementia, and they have moved him, you all, and he doesn't even know where he is or who anybody is. Now, was he? Hold on, everybody. Hold on. I'm getting ready to wrap up. I don't know how long, so I don't want to stay on too long. We were getting into some great conversations, though, right? Yes, Bruce. Let me see here. Stefan OB4OD. Y'all, I'm on my phone, so that's why I'm looking down and looking like this. But they said beauty products are killing black women. You all, I went out for just a few minutes. Welcome back, welcome back. The internet kind of kicked out, I guess. I don't know, but we back. They're saying the beauty products are also having an effect. I would believe it. I would believe it. What we're eating, what we're drinking is leading to these things, you all. So as natural as you can keep your food, as natural as you can keep as what you're drinking, what you're putting in your hair, all of that, you all. Y'all do that. Because again, these people trying to hurt us. So Black people, you have to be careful. We are being hurt with dementia, and we are seeing our family members being done, going down with dementia. So you all make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Now, with that said, I want to thank you all for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Microplastic. Very good. Microplastic. Yes. So that is at Tony 96. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. I don't think what Austin Metcalf's dad called him watermelon felon was appropriate. It was not appropriate. Now I know the man is mad and he been on a gag order, but the first thing you gonna say is that. So to me, that may have been hiding in your heart to begin with. Or do you think because of the conversation and discourse, it brought it out of his heart? You can't make me say what's not in my heart. So that's just the way I feel about it. And I don't tolerate that kind of stuff on my channel. So you go on, bro. You keep that to yourself. So microplastic, that has a lot to do with the dementia, y'all. I think so too. So I think what needs to happen is, again, you keep it as natural, you all. Everybody, let's commit 3 times this week. We're going to do something to make ourselves better. Exercise, eat better, smoke less cigarettes, something that will benefit your health. And remember, there's more than one type of health. You got physical health, you've got nutritional health, you've got mental health, you've got spiritual health, you've got relational health. So all of these types of different health all play into your well-being. And so you got to take care of you. And mental health is just part of that, you all of it plays into who you are, who you become, and how you show up in this world. And so, with that said, y'all, I want to thank you all for joining me for this live. I hope you have learned a lot. We've talked about a little bit of everything. I usually go live on Sunday, so this is not normally when I go live. But like I said, this Sunday, I got kicked out, y'all. They was tearing me up in the comments. I mean, every racist in the world seemed like they showed up in that feed on Sunday, and I didn't know how to kick them out, but I do know how to kick them out now, and I'm doing that. And it's not because I want to keep your voice hidden, but it's because I'm not going to be disrespected. I'm not going to let you disrespect my people. I'm not here disrespecting your people. Don't disrespect mine. No matter what, we have to show up in a certain way. And this is who I am. No one can help what color they are. No one can help what sex they are, all of that. So why am I gonna sit here and let you talk about my people? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not even gonna let you talk about Karmelo. And if you would have put something ugly about Austin, who passed away, I would have kicked you out there too. We're not here to beat down people. We're here to have real conversations because we are intelligent people. I don't suffer fools at all. I don't suffer fools. I have doctors as children, lawyers, accountants. I don't suffer idiotic conversations within our community. Now, I have fun. Old lady T have a good time. I'm a free, easy-go-lucky person. But intellectual honesty is important to me. And things that's going to build my people and my community and those around me is important to me. So I don't suffer the foolishness. So If you don't want to come here and learn something and have a real conversation, and I prayed. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you. I do pray before I go on my lives, and I also have people who stand in the gap with me, who is praying for me. I am a believer, and I do pray, and I do want to go to heaven, and I live my life accordingly. So part of the conversation was, what's the difference between a single mother who can raise 20 kids and all of them turn out good, and a single mother who raised 20 kids and all of them, turn out bad? Is prayer. It's prayer, you all. It's prayer. It's a relationship with God. It's your presence of being there. It's you in the fight every day with your kid until your kid grows up. In fact, my mom taught me from a little girl. I told you I was a teenage mother. And what my mother said was, if you do not get married before that baby girl turns 3, then you need to stay single till she turn 18. Because she ought to be able to sleep. She ought to be able to grow up into her womanhood without worrying about if this man want a piece of her. Well. Now see, that'll preach all day, today, and 2 times tomorrow. A lot of times, a woman in her loneliness, y'all. I told you I was a single mama. I was a teenage mother, and I was lonely. So sometimes in that loneliness, we'll allow a man to come in our life and wreak havoc. And nowadays, some women are allowing women to come into their life and wreak havoc. Let me tell you, my cousin was in a relationship with a woman. That woman beat the smithereens out of my cousin. She beat that girl all the time. So there people say that there's just as much abuse in those type of relationships than others. Okay? So with that in mind, we just got to be honest about where we are as people, where we are as women, what is positive for our life, and what impact this stuff is having on our children. See, sometimes they say, I like a bad guy, I like a thug, but a bad guy and a thug can't raise your kid. My husband is a nerd, straight up nerd. I don't mind at all. We do nerdy things, and I love it, love it, love it. He got a little hood on him too, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, when it comes to his children, his family, he is serious. So sisters, y'all, it ain't nothing wrong with a thug. Ain't nothing wrong with the 15th and the 30th, guaranteed, right? So, with that in mind, you all, thank you all for taking some time out. I just wanted to bring out kind of what I knew about those attorneys. I shared that at the beginning. Definitely go back. Y'all, I'm hoping that when I end this live will be available for replay. But if not, because Lady T don't know what she's doing because I never go live. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for joining me. I want to thank you all for being a part of this conversation. I want to also thank you for pointing out things that's going on in our community, what we need to do in our community, and how we can change some things in our community. And so I want to tell you that I appreciate you, and I will go live again on Sunday if you want to see me again. In the meantime, go on down to the Royal Black and Elite channel, y'all. I have over 300 and something videos of everybody in Black history that you can think of who have done some really amazing things that we should all know. We should only have to know Martin Luther King and Malcolm X for Black History Month, right? We should know more than that. Well, with Royal Black and Elite, you can. And if you want to help with these dolls, y'all, I left it's Trenett, it's money sign Trenett, no E Wilson, Cash App. If you want to give one of these dolls, you all, I go to schools at least 2 or 3 times a month to talk to students and do a Black history a lecture, and I'm very proud of them. The hate you give, little infant everyone. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you listen. If you don't take care of your children, y'all, they're gonna grow up to be monsters. Period and point blank. I cannot express that to you enough. If you sit Johnny in a room, by the time Johnny is around 5 years old, it's gonna show up. Y'all, let me be real honest with you. My daughter, who's a teacher, and I'm getting into something else, y'all. Thank y'all for sticking around. I'm almost done. I hope y'all don't have nothing to do. If you have to go, I understand. But I've been having such a good time visiting with you all today. My daughter, who's a teacher, one of them is a teacher. So I have all kinds of different children who do different things, you all. So though I was a teenage mother and the devil had a plan for my life, God had a different plan. And so our children are amazing people. I mean, just amazing. But my sister, excuse me, my daughter's a teacher. She teaches 5-year-olds, you all, in a low income area because that's been always her dream. I want to help kids. I want to go to the low income area. Okay. Go and do it, right? So she went in there, y'all. She did it, right? Y'all, these kids, 5 years old. Number one, not potty trained. Not potty trained, y'all. Not potty trained. Number two, mean as a socks full of rocks. Mean. Cursing. They have spit on my daughter. They have bit my daughter. They have kicked her in the behind. And the school doesn't do anything about it other than put a kid on a work plan and then say, if you do this again so many times after the work plan, then you'll go to half a day. Not get put out of school, but you go through half a day. So you all, if a parent isn't doing their job, they're bringing that mess up to the school. And my daughter is seeing it. Eventually, they put the kid out of school. But by the time they go through the whole system, it can be a whole year before the student gets removed. Now, my daughter's 6 foot tall. Ain't nothing little about my daughter. She is a very tall, a thin woman. She's thin, but she's built. And for her to restrain herself, to not have to yank a kid up or yank a parent up, I could never be the one to be in that classroom. So our kids, y'all, are in trouble. And we as a community, as a society, if you see your aunt, your niece, your nephew, help them out with their children. Now, I know nowadays you can barely tell people anything about their kids, but if you can, if someone respects you enough to say something, say something. So if you see something, say something. So my daughter's puts up with that at school with your students. With people's children and grandchildren, and we've got to do better. Now, it doesn't help when grandmama is 30. Doesn't help when granddaddy is 32. It really does not help. And so those are some of the problems that we are experiencing in our community. And I can be honest and I can talk about our community and our culture because I live in our community and I have given to our community for the last all my life, really. And so I agree. They need God. I don't have any kids, but I agree. If you know it's wrong, say something. Absolutely. Yeah. Let me tell you something, you all. I live in an all-black community. The football over here is crazy, okay? We go to state championships. We win everything all the time. All the time, you all. Well, I was at a football game. It was a pee-wee football game, you all, and there were the little boys playing. And there's parents all over the place, and these little boys playing. Now, I'm from the old school. That's just me. I'm over almost 60. I'm almost over 60 years old. So I'm from the old school, and these kids were out playing football, throwing, and they started cussing. And I'm not talking about regular cussing. I mean, they were cussing like cussing down at the juke joint cussing. And their parents were standing around. Adults were standing around. I won't say they were their parents. I'm just going to say adults were standing around. So they cussing, they going out. Y'all, I'm looking around. I'm looking at people. I'm starting to rock because the etiquette is coming out in me. The mama coming out, the grandmama, all of it's coming out, right? And I'm rocking back and forth like, I know these people, these kids. So they keep cussing out. And so I stepped in and I said, hey guys, how are you all? Y'all having a good time? I'm glad y'all having fun. Y'all better stop that cussing in front of me. I'm a grown woman. Why are you all out here cussing like that? You see these grandmothers out here, these kids, you all stop cussing like that. You know what those kids said? Yes, ma'am. We sorry, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So this idea that we all bad and that all kids are bad, sometimes a child wants that direction. And if you do it with love, you'll get a response. Not all the time. Not all the time. Because I've been cussed out also. One time I did that, and some kids were walking across the street, and they were walking really slow. I honked my horn. Those kids turned around and started cursing at me and acting like they were going to attack me. But I'm in a car, and you walking, so you know who won that battle. But these children, once I said something, the other adults started chiming in, and it ended up in a good situation. The kids apologized. So, y'all, you have to say something. You have to do it in love. You know what I'm saying? If I would have jumped on them right away, you little blah, 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 then it would have been a problem. Now I would have had to fight the mama. I would have had to fight the kids. I would have had to fight everybody. Ladies, you don't fight. So it would have ended up wrong and bad. So that is what happened in that situation. So we as a Black community, we have to begin to mentor, take responsibility. And when we're in a situation, we see something, say something, and don't just say, look at him. Oh, I can't stand them little. Because I know at some point that's how you feel sometimes. That's how you feel sometimes. Sometimes you feel scared. I know you do. If we would be honest and talk the truth, there's a few of my cousins I wouldn't even let come to my house because they'll steal me blind. They'll take everything up in here. I don't have anything much, but my goodness, they'll take the little I have. So if we don't be honest about some of the people in our own family, some of the people in our own community, other communities are going to continue to be able to move in and make money on us because we don't have it together. So I think this is a great forum to be able to start the conversation. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm going to be able to next time to bring people in and be able to for y'all to comment and bring you in live with me because I think that's so important. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to be able to be a solution. We got a lot of problems, but what about some solutions? So that's where I'm at. That's what time I'm on, and I hope that's what time you're on too. So thank you all for joining me, and I hope that you all had a good time. I'll be here on Sunday. I'll be here about 12 o'clock. I'll go up. Well, I'm sorry. I'll be here more like around 3 or so. I go to church and then eat, so all that good stuff. So I'll be in, but I'll do it as a premiere so you'll know I'm going to go live. Thank you all for joining me, y'all. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Welcome to all of my new subscribers. Hello. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad. Welcome to the Royalers family. Y'all, we just keep it real around here. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you so much. D-A-M, damn awesome point. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you all so much. Okay, good. Thank you all so much. I love the positive feedback. You all, we need to hear this. We just got to be honest. I'm going to be honest about what I have to say. I hope you be honest about what you have to say. And y'all, us walking around here biting our tongue, saying, oh, well, it's okay that Johnny doing this and he having 12 babies. Stand up. Stand up. Until we take responsibility for our community, we're going to keep getting run over. That's how everybody on the map was able to enslave us and trade us. I just told you, Spanish, Europeans, Muslims, y'all, everybody owned Black people because we didn't have it together. Let me tell you something. Do you ever wonder why you had slavery, right? Here we are into to something else. Yeah, I'm finna go really. I am but I'm in with this. I'm in with this. You ever wonder why? Because enslavement and indentured servitude was something that's always been here. Why were Black people so enslaved beyond other people and for so long? Right? Why was Africa, the motherland, the continent? Why did they go to Asia? Why didn't they go to Europe? Why, you know what I'm saying? Because slavery was everywhere at that time. How did it become shadow slavery? About race. Right? Why didn't they go? Put it down below. Why you think they didn't go get the Europeans? They didn't go get the Asians. Why did they come get the Black people? Why did they come get the Black people? Well, I will tell you Sunday when you all tune in for our live. We're going to go in to some of that history. It is so good, you all. I can't wait to share it with you. So I'll see you all Sunday. And thank you for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite.